welcome back to the MyDigiDoc official YouTube channel where we bring in pre-med and med students to talk about their medical journey, advice, and so much more. My name is Justine Rukor, founder and executive director of MyDigiDoc, and before you continue on to this video, make sure you click that subscribe button and like this video for more content just like this. Today my colleague Sahithi and I are going to be sitting down and talking to Miss Genesis Omana, where we asked her questions about her medical journey, advice, study tips, her immigration to the United States, and so much more. Here's my colleague Sahithi.
Hi everyone, my name is Sahithi and I am the head of technology and media in MyDigiDoc.
Thank you, Sahithi. Let's get started.
Hi Genesis, could you give an introduction to everyone for you?
Hi everyone, my name is Genesis. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently a pre-med student at FAU, Florida Atlantic University here in Florida. And I'm excited to be with you guys here today.
We're excited to have you. So the first question I have for you is, what got you into medicine?
Okay, that's definitely not because I like science and I want to help people. The main reason why I got into medicine is because I had a series of experiences in my life, mainly family and friends who have got sick. My grandfather had cancer when I was 13 years old. And I used to spend a lot of days in the hospital and hours, and I love being there. I love being around doctors. And I was just so curious about what was going on with my grandfather's diagnostic. It was prostate cancer. And then after that, when I turned 14, my grandfather died. And then when I turned 14 at school, I had two friends that suffer from epilepsy. And that was, I got to experience that with them being by myself, like they having the seizures and everything. So that was like a wake-up call. I felt helpless. I felt like, oh my God, I want to do something. Like, why can I just, make this stop or know what's going on? So I just couldn't understand a lot. And I was just like, okay, so I got to study medicine. I have to know what's going on. And yeah, so when I turned 16, I graduated from high school, and in Venezuela and Latin America, you get to go to medical school right after high school. So I applied to medical school in my country, and I got into medical school in a city called Maracaibo. And when I got to medical school, it is very competitive in Venezuela as well. And I was super excited to go to medical school and everything. But unfortunately, my country is currently going through a dictatorship, and like everyone is moving out of the country. So my family decided to come here to the United States. And when I got here, I went to universities and I told them I want to study medicine because that's my dream. And they were like, okay, so your English is not perfect, so settle down and think about this twice, and maybe you should consider nursing or something else. And I was like, no. And then I just knew I had to start from somewhere. And then I started improving my English, and I went to a community college, and that's where it all started. And now I transferred to the university, and now I am my junior year. And yeah, I'm graduating on 2022. I'm super excited about that too. And it's been going pretty well. I'm very happy about the results. And yeah, that's how far I've come.
That's great.
Cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Both me and Sahithi also both graduate in 2022, but that's for high school, so less serious. And, but that's also really cool. You took all your hardships in your life and you use that to inspire you instead of bring you down. So that's really cool. So tracking to FAU, like obviously you transferred to there. How's the community at FAU for like pre-med track students?
Okay, so I'm actually in the honors college. And when I got to the honors college, I got this sense of imposter syndrome. I felt like I didn't belong there because everyone in my classes were so smart. And I remember I was in my genetics class and people were super engaged with the class, and my classmates are super smart, and they're all like doing research, getting clinical experience. And I have never done research before. And I was like, oh my God, I should have done research since I was born. And then I talked to my advisor and she's like, no, just calm down. Everything will come when it has to come. So yeah, and it's pretty amazing. I really love it. Then I understood that if they can, I can too. And I just started studying a lot and getting involved with the community. And now I'm vice president of an organization at FAU. It's a mental health organization called Keep Moving. I'm very proud of that. And now I just got a research position in I don't know if you've heard of Scripps. It is a laboratory. It's pretty famous here in the US. And yeah, I've been emailing PIs for months. I could say I emailed around 30 PIs and they were all like, no, or they just didn't get back to me. And then one got back to me and I was like, yes, thank you. And yeah, so I'm gonna start this experience here on fall. So it's gonna be like a week from now. I'm super excited for that too.
Cool, super cool.
That's so cool. And like, I know that you mentioned like genetics and how you got into that. So what led you into choosing your major?
Okay, so that's a cool question. Well, when I got to the community college, they were like, okay, you're a pre-med, so do biology. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna do biology. And I remember right off the bat, I was with my mom like, okay, I'm gonna take all these plants classes, or I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. And I talked to my advisor and they were like, okay, you're not gonna be studying plants. You're gonna be studying more like bio 1, bio 2, your prereqs. And then you get to do all these fun classes, genetics, cell bio, and I'm gonna do cancer bio and all those classes. So it's more like, clinical related. So that's what interests me in biology. So I really loved bio 1. That was like my favorite class. And I was like, okay, bio is my major. Then I got to FAU and they have a neuroscience major. And like most of my classmates are a neuroscience major. And I love neuroscience, but I think I prefer biology. so I stick with it.
I know you mentioned that you were vice president of a mental health organization at FAU. So sort of relating to that, what's like your favorite like extracurricular or a highlight like thing at FAU, or like even in general that you like really enjoyed?
Okay, so my favorite extracurricular so far has been a crisis hotline that I do. I'm a crisis counselor. It's called Crisis Text Line. So basically what we do is we take someone that is in crisis, they text us and they're like, anything that's going on in their lives. It could be relationship issues or depression or, just anything. And we try to be as supportive as possible. And we did this training for a month or two. And, you get all these different point of views from anything. Like I feel like this has been like the most important and meaningful experience that I've ever got to do. You really learn a lot and you learn to be more altruistic and not to like focus on yourself all the time but on other people. And that's very important for medical school and for your future as a physician.
Yeah, super cool. It sounds like really important work, and like the way you talked about it, you really like enjoyed it and everything too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
if you guys ever want to join, let me know. Whoever wants to join, we're open, and I love for more people to to get to experience this.
For sure. I'll be sure to reach out to you if I'm interested in everything. So kind of going back to when you're entering FAU from transferring, and even going to medical school and from where you're from. What was like the one thing that has surprised you the most, like entering all of those areas?
Maybe what surprised me the most is how supportive people can be. And at first, I felt like rather than supportive, it was competitive. And that's, that's pretty normal for the pre-med community, especially if you're in honors. And most of the honors members are pre-meds in FAU. So they're all like super academically oriented. They are very intelligent people. So as I said before, I felt totally like this imposter syndrome, and it was really bad. I had my mental breakdowns and everything, but that's pretty normal. That's how this works. But then I learned that rather than competitive, you can turn it into supportive. So I met these great people. I've met great students that are all interested in like being supportive and being there with you. Like, I want to learn from what you're doing, and I know you want to learn from me. So I try to like target the people that are not adding anything to my journey, and just don't get involved with those people, and look for the people that want to be there. Like, they want to get involved with you and go with you through this, because it's not easy and you shouldn't have to do this alone. So I've always felt like us as premeds have to be more, have to collaborate with each other. Like, hey, I found this opportunity. You should try it. Here it is. And like, I found this scholarship. Apply. So that's mostly like what is going to help us all get into medical school, because that's the ultimate goal, you know? Not like, oh, I'm not going to tell you about this experience because then you're going to take it away from me. So that's not the idea here.
Yeah, I think like changing the attitude and like moving away from, I know competitiveness is like a big part of medical school, but moving away from that and trying to like support each other is going to be really important. So
Absolutely.
okay, well, another question I have for you is that you mentioned biology 1 and 2, but what are some classes that you took in college and like in medicine that related to your field of study?
Related to my field of study, I took Bio 1, my prereqs, Bio 2, the labs. I took General Chemistry 1, General Chemistry 2, the labs. I took Calc 1, Calc 2. Those were the hardest, I'm not gonna lie. And then I also took related to my field. Well, Calc are not related to your field, but those are all prereqs, so you have to take them regardless. And it's better to think that they are for your field, so you get through them, because they are really hard classes. But you mentioned you like STEM, so I'm guessing you also like math and history, so you'll be fine. I'm not a fan of math, but I through it. I survived. So yeah, and I also took neuroanatomy. That's been my favorite class. And if you like neuroscience, that's a class you will never regret taking. And it really teaches you a great foundation for medical school, because you will take neuroanatomy in medical school. And also you can take morph and function and anatomy and any other class related to medicine. However, those classes are absolutely not needed right now, because you're just a pre-med when you get into college. So yeah, so I would say take your prereqs, and then you can worry about all the other difficult classes. This semester, I'm not all the way done with my prereqs. I'm 60% done. I still have to take orgo, and I have to take physics. I'm really scared about physics, but hopefully that will turn out well too.
Yeah. So what is something that not a lot of people know about pre-med? Like something that took you by surprise?
Let me think about this. Well, for my family in Venezuela, because they're not used to the system here in the US, they think that if I'm a pre-med, I'm already like, like getting hands-on experiences and doing all these kind of things, like, yeah, healthcare worker, or, like they think I'm helping with COVID and everything. But in reality, you're just studying and you are getting involved with everything. And believe it or not, it's not just in my country and my family, but here in the US, I've known people that are in high school or even freshmen at college that don't really know specifically how this process works. So they're like, okay, so I'm gonna get to do this and get to do that. If I'm gonna do shadowing, that means I'm gonna be like, I don't know, like helping with surgery. And that's totally not what's gonna happen. You're gonna be in the corner of the OR, like staring at everyone. That's basically how it works. And another thing that people don't realize about pre-meds is how challenging this path is. It is totally a challenge. And if you're not 100% committed to this, you will not survive. You have to like get into this and know that this is what I want. No one's gonna tell me not to do it. And I'm gonna fight until the end and I'll get through it because I know I can. And if you're not mentally prepared for that, you're gonna burn out. It's literally what happens at medical school because this is hard. It is hard, especially if you have to work or if you have to take extracurriculars, which you have, because obviously for medical school, you have 15 spots for activities in your AMCAS application. So you'll need to get a lot of extracurriculars done. So yes, it is a hard process. It is a challenge. My family are always like sometimes, well, I'm not gonna say 100% of the time, but a good 70% of the time on the weekends, they're like, oh, let's go to the beach, or let's go to this, let's go to that. And I'm like, I can't, I have to study. So yeah, you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
the common misconception that you like get in the field and immediately, but I agree, like you have a lot of build up to that. You have pre-med and then med school, and it's a long process. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Branching off of that, it is a long process, and if you're not committed, then that's kind of bad for you, I guess, and stuff like that. So sort of like going off, like off the topic a little bit of that. What is some advice that you have, like based off of your journey for like high schoolers, maybe like my age or like other students, undergrads out there? Any advice?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I've always thought that I want to talk to high school students. And even at my volunteerings at the hospital, I've got to talk to high school students that are doing volunteerings in the front desk or anything. And I'm like, okay, listen, you're gonna do this, this, and this. And they're like, okay, hold on. But yeah, what I think that you should focus on in your freshman year when you go to college, focus on studying your first year. Don't focus on about anything else. And I would say, do not think that you cannot have fun, because that's a lie. You can have fun in college, because I know when you're in high school, you're excited about college and it's another experience, and you really want to get to know people, you want to get to live things, and that's normal. We're all humans and you get to do those things, but that's not your priority at all. So what I recommend you do is focus on your classes and take some time for yourself, but do not get too caught up on parties or friends, or obviously you can have friends, but not like, like parties or anything that's gonna get you, make you like, I don't know, like wake up late the next day and not wanting to study for, I don't know, hangover or whatever. So yeah. And after your first year, you should well, from my experience, I would say try not taking a lot of summer classes. Why? Because I took my first summer, I took a bunch of classes, and my second summer, I took another bunch of classes. And yeah, I managed to do well on those classes, but I didn't get extracurriculars on those summers. I didn't get clinical experience. I didn't get research. I didn't get anything, because you are so focused on your chemistry class or on this other class that you don't get your extracurriculars that are needed for medical school. Clinical experience is something that you want to have in your sophomore year. You want to start in your freshman year, but not that much, because you're focused on classes. But in your sophomore year, you want to start getting a lot of shadowing, getting a lot of clinical experience, and that's volunteering at the hospital, or if you want to do hospice, that's great, or any other kind of experience that you like. And that's another important thing. Find things that you enjoy. So know yourself. Say, okay, for example, like I love like women empowerment and feminism and all that. So that's something I want to get involved with. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to this organization and I'm going to join because that's something I like. So don't just go and think, okay, so because this medical school will like me to do this, I'm going to go ahead and do it. because that's not going to help you in the long run, and you're going to feel more tired because you're doing something for somebody else rather than yourself. So yeah, and then in your junior year, I would say get started also with research and keep doing clinical experience throughout your whole college years. Don't stop, because that's gonna, in your application, if you ever stop, that's gonna be just like, it looks like you're just checking boxes, you know? And that's something medical schools don't like either. They want to see that you are really in for the clinical experience because you love being around doctors and in a medical setting. So that's something I really highly suggest, because it is something I really didn't focus on my sophomore year. And this year with COVID and everything going on, we're not getting a lot of clinical experience like college students. So hopefully you will not have COVID or any other pandemic when you have to get clinical experience. And yeah, and then on your last year, I would say, well, I am a fan of gap years for MCAT, and I'm a fan of a gap year for application, because I feel like that prevents you from getting exhausted, and we are humans, we need time. And it's not really like a gap year because you're gonna be working anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna take a gap year for my MCAT and my applications. And for your last year, I would say, explore your summers getting research, explore your summers doing other extracurricular things that you like. I don't know, you mentioned you like STEM. So let's say you like space stuff. So you like NASA research. So go ahead and apply for summer research with NASA or whatever, So those are things that you may want to do and explore. And at the end of the day, it's gonna look great on your medical school application, because that's gonna say who you are. So yeah, that's my advice.
That's super cool. Yeah, I definitely think all that advice helped a lot. So just looking through it, even though I'm in high school, that pretty much helps. So pretty good advice. So I know you said first year you should study a lot and really get in depth with that. So could you tell me any study tips that personally worked with you that helped you efficiently study?
Okay, so there's passive studying and active studying. And that's something so important, especially for practice classes like chemistry or organic chemistry classes. You're gonna want to do a lot of practice problems. That's gonna get high scores on your test and learn the material well. So of course you have to memorize stuff, but it's not all about memorization. So try flashcards and try spending the time on doing practice problems for those classes. So for example, if you're going to do chemistry, and I remember I told you that I struggle with calculus. So what I did for calculus was that I was studying at least, I would say, 3 hours daily a week. So 3 hours every day for a class, because I know it wasn't my strength. So I spent the time every day doing practice problems, and then I went to tutoring if I didn't understand something, or go to office hours. This is a great advice. Go to office hours. That's gonna help you tremendously for your letters of recommendation, for your faculty to get to know you. That's huge. So you wanna go to office hours, and you wanna reach out to your professor and be really involved with your professors and your advisors. Okay, but going back to the study tips, and for example, for biology and genetics and all those classes, that's mostly memorization, but understanding too. So you want to be reading the book before the class, and after the class, you want to be reviewing what you learned during the class, and you want to be spending the time every day to study, not cram all the material in 1 week before the test, because that's gonna get you a C or a B. You don't want that. So yeah, and other than that, yeah, I will tell you my study tips for physics when I get to physics. I'm scared of physics, but hopefully it won't be that bad.
Yeah. So that wraps up all of our questions, pretty short and sweet. So you've been wonderful. I loved the responses for each one of the questions. And I like how you also added a lot of extra information that's going to help so many of our viewers. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, thank you for inviting me, guys. This is so fun and exciting to know that you're interested in learning.